Hello, Lagos. Thank you for joining us for today's show. First fact of the day is a public service announcement. It's coming from the office of the Chief Coroner of Lagos State. You need to listen to this one. Honorable Justice M.A. Dada. She apparently wants Lagos to know that there are lots of unclaimed and unidentified bodies of people who died between the 19th of October and the 27th of October 2020. Between the 19th and the 27th of October 2020. So the coroner's office is saying that these people need to be identified. So if you've lost somebody, please go down to LASUS, the Lagos State University Teaching Hospital. Go down to the Department of Pathology and Forensic Medicine with any ID card that you have for yourself and your loved one, and try and identify some of the bodies that they have there. Our second hard fact of the day is Gbajabiamila's police reform proposal. Of course, I'm talking about Femi Gbajabiamila, the Speaker of the House of Reps. The Reps had a public hearing on police reform, and he presented a draft bill. And the bill had one proposal that I found very interesting. He wants the Police Service Commission to open offices in every state so that they can monitor police activity closer to the grassroots. Does that sound familiar? Because if you think back, you remember that during our police reform series here on Hard Facts, Chief Andy Oboforibo and I talked a lot about the Police Service Commission. You remember? We talked about how a big part of the problem was that the PSC did not have any presence in the states and in the local governments. And so it's hard for them to really monitor the police well. Well, I'm glad somebody was listening. And I'm glad that one of, my listeners said to Femi Gbajabiamila, this is what you should do because I heard it on Hard Facts. Maybe he's one of my 720,000 listeners. Who knows? But good afternoon, Honorable Speaker, if you're listening. I have a great big three for you. Let's talk about President Buhari saying that government cannot finance universities by itself anymore. And then let's talk about Lai Mohammed accusing CNN of fake news about the Lekki shooting. And then let's talk about the BBC's report that 12 police officers have been abducted. Now, you can talk to us on Twitter at Nigeria Info FM. You can also watch this show on Facebook and leave your thoughts on Facebook, Nigeria Info 99.3. We have WhatsApp. WhatsApp is 080-959-75805. It's Thursday, so League of Extraordinary Nigerians is coming your way, as well as Eyewitness. And on the Big Hard Fact today, we're going to talk about extortion of master's degrees students during Project Defense, even BSc students during Project Defense. Just extortion of students during Project Defense, period. There's been lots of stories about it on social media recently, so I want us to have a conversation about it. I'm sure that some of you have some very interesting stories to tell. Now, of course, there's news updates coming your way at the top of the hour every hour, and we're going to give you a chance to play just a minute, so listen out for it. But right now, let's bring you the Big Three.
This is the Big Three.
The Big Three on Hard Facts
on 99.3 Nigeria Info.
Should the private sector get more involved in public universities? Should the private sector get more involved in public universities? What do you think about the federal government's response to the Lekki shooting reports? Are Nigeria's security personnel able to keep themselves safe? Those are the Big Three, Lagos. Let's talk. Our first story, the president says federal government cannot keep funding its universities on its own, and it really needs the private sector to step in. Well, he didn't say it directly. Someone speaking on his behalf at the UI graduation said it. By the way, I've always wondered what's the point of somebody going to give a speech on your behalf. I don't know. Either you can make it or you can't make it, right? I don't know. I've always had a problem with that. But anyway, here's what was said on the president's behalf. Quote, "It must be noted that the government alone cannot carry the enormous burden of financing education. The private sector must be actively involved in the task of providing quality education for Nigerians. It is my expectation that universities will make themselves attractive to the private sector, define their roles, and carve out a niche by designing programs that will progressively assist the government in addressing poverty reduction, improving the health sector. End quote. So the president is making a specific request here. If you listen to that speech, he appears to want the private sector to invest in public universities. So maybe grants, maybe endowments, scholarships, stuff like that. I don't know. We see that in other countries. So, for example, in California, lots of the big tech companies in Silicon Valley are funding the computer science and engineering programs in schools like Berkeley or Caltech or Stanford. But like the president said, for that to happen, the schools need to, quote, make themselves attractive. So I wonder what ways you think our public universities can make themselves attractive for private funding. How do you think that can happen? Now, on the other hand, let me ask you, should the private sector be bringing money for public schools? Or should they simply set up more private schools? Because we have more and more of those popping up and they seem to be doing quite well. Today, the ASU president was talking about this, Professor Biodun Ogunyemi. He said that right now, the private universities are poaching the best lecturers from the public ones since government hasn't resolved the ASU strike. So I don't know, do you think that's a fair alternative? Is that a fair alternative? Basically, as the public schools slowly crumble, the private schools grow to fill the gap. Is that what needs to start to happen? Now, some say it's a bad idea because most Nigerians will not be able to afford the private schools, and that's why the public option must exist. But there's also the question of how we fund it. How do we fund it? By the way, we're going to be talking about public universities at 5. We'll talk some more about public universities at 5 o'clock during the Big Hard Fact. We're talking about lecturers making students bring food for them during master's degrees. So don't miss that conversation. 5 p.m. is when it's coming your way. But what do you think about President Buhari's warning that the government cannot fund public universities on its own? What do you think about his call for the private sector to step in? In what ways do you think the universities can make themselves attractive to private sector funding? We've got Ebuka Imushin on the line. He's our first caller on the show today. Ebuka, welcome.
Yeah, good afternoon, Auntie Sandra.
Good afternoon. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. Don't join me, sir.
What did they chop?
Nagari.
Thank you. I don't chop.
Yeah, okay. Talking about this federal government and private sector. You can't put all your fingers inside your mouth. You see, I schooled in Open University. We are running this system of pay to the school direct. Not until they introduce remitter. That remitter goes to the federal government, and they move the headquarters to Abuja.
Okay,
we were like, how many sectors do you want to run? Cool. Everything was going fine. The portal we were running then was very good. Not until they came in and took over the system of the school. Okay, they moved it to Abuja. It went to the federal government. So they make attack everything. I think they should just give great air to some private sector to come in, because now, after the on strike, public university is running. Other one, they are going on with the program, and students are suffering.
Right.
Okay, how do they want this sector to grow? If not removing the hands for private sector to run it and monitor how it goes. Because, okay, so many schools, they have halls, empty halls and other things. I think private sector coming in will use those facilities for us people to rent, generate income, and other things. Because the federal government, they have a whole lot in their desk they have not addressed.
Now, how do you think public universities should go about attracting the private sector? How should they do it?
Sorry, the public... I didn't get your question.
How should public universities attract private sector? How should they go about it?
just like I said, their facility, I think if they listen with them on how to leave some of their facilities to them for lectures, like when these private schools have overflow, I think they can give out some of their facilities for them to make use. Sunday they can generate money because students pay. Sandra, you see the kind of money we pay in this country for school, not be here. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for calling me, Ibuka Mushin. We've got David in Alagbado on the line. Hello, David. Is David still there? No, he isn't. But thanks for calling, David. Call back if you can. Hello.
Hello, Sandra. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, my name is Paul Domanyado.
Paul Domanyado. Should the private sector get more involved in public universities?
Yeah, that's why I called.
Yes. Tell me what you
Sandra,
think.
Let me tell you the truth.
Okay.
Some tribes don't like anything called education in Nigeria. That is why we are like this today. You know the meaning of Boko Haram? They don't want anything foreign education.
What has that got to do? What has that got to do with what the president is saying?
What I'm telling you is that if president himself went to school, he went to public school, why should it be now that he will be deciding whether private sector will come and fund government schools?
But in other parts of the world, you have the private sector. I gave you an example of what's happening in California, for instance. You have private sector funding universities. So are they also Boko Haram?
Thank you. You see, all those countries I mentioned, some of them don't have resources that Nigeria has.
No, actually, they have more resources than Nigeria does.
What Nigeria have, and remember that all those countries, their citizens, they are okay.
No, well, they are more okay than Nigerians, but they are poor, and sometimes they're even too poor for school. Like after going to school, they're owing money that they pay off for years and years. They go broke trying to pay their school fees. That kind of thing can't happen in Nigeria.
It cannot happen in Nigeria.
Well, if the government succeeds and private sector comes in to fund public education, it may become expensive, and so expensive that average people cannot attend.
Sandra, what happens is that if it happens like that, many Nigerians will not be able to fund to go to school. I think you know.
So you think government should keep funding public universities?
Yes, government, we have the resources.
We actually don't have the money, but thank you for calling. I appreciate it. Emmanuel Inaja, welcome.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Welcome. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you too?
Very well. Do you support the president's call for the private sector to step in?
Kind of, yes. Though it also shows a form of the government is always ceding responsibility to somebody. Always, where the government is used to that, and they are doing this in education now. We saw where they said they would use almost 130 billion to feed children and treat the warming for children in education. So the first thing is that I think they are not paying enough attention to education.
Okay.
Also, to make public university attractive for investment, the government still needs to do something.
Okay.
Now, in some of the universities that have a lot of public or private attention. So, for example, let's say MIT, for example, that has maybe Oracle as part of their as a research laboratory there. HP, they have research laboratory there. But how many of our public universities have such initiatives to allow, say, MTN, say, Glo, say Dangote, say all those people think of investing and having maybe research outputs that can help those businesses thrive. Even all this, we have petroleum universities that are not, I don't know, but I don't think they are actually making anything that can help the private institutions. We have engineering universities of technologies that are not technology anything, so to say. They're not contributing anything to discovering something that is more peculiar to our use case here. We're seeing importing everything. We don't have material experts that are converting our raw materials to usable stuff that we use in this place. So if the federal government will want the universities to be viable for investment, I think they need to rechannel the expectations, both in terms of investment from their part and expectations. So they let them invest in research-based. I graduated from the university, but to be honest, even including myself, I am not bold to talk about my project. So how many of our projects that students that are writing projects every year, those projects are just being dumped in the
trash, really.
In the trash. So
in trash, really.
What are we then producing? So,
but can I ask you something though? Can I ask you something though? Isn't it left for the MTNs, for example, to make the funding available for the things that you talked about? So, for example, Silicon Valley schools did not have the facilities until private sector and the defense department stepped in.
Yes, but you made mention of something very viable now. Defense department. And defense department is government. So the thing is this. The thing that the government is supposed to do is what the private sector is doing. I know of the University of Ilorin, for example, the ICT center that the government established for that university is not up to standard. What MTN brought is what the university is using. MTN is not supposed to do ICT center. MTN is supposed to come and fund a research center. So the basic that the federal government is supposed to provide, so the payment of the school fees that the students have been paying for years, where is it going?
Fair point.
I also did Open University, and just like one of the callers said, immediately federal government took over the runnings. Everything crumbled. Till today, I'm still waiting for results from Open University for more than 3 years because the federal government took over.
Emmanuel, thank you. Unfortunately, I have to take a break, but thank you so much. I really enjoyed this. I really enjoyed this. You should call me more, Emmanuel. Call me more.
I will. I try, but most times I've been trying since last week.
Yeah, it's difficult. Well, thanks for calling. I loved talking to you. All right, Legals, we'll take a break. We'll come back and keep talking. This is Hard Facts on 99.3 Nigeria Info.
Your number one station for talk.
99.3 Nigeria Info.
99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.
Mention the first 20 chemical elements accordingly.
Hydrogen, helium, millennium.
See your head. You're wrong. It's not millennium. It's equilibrium.
How come you still remember these things? It's been a while we went to school.
Haven't you been attending daily lessons on Wazobia Max TV?
Daily lessons on Wazobia Max?
Yeah, that's right. Daily lessons showing Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. on Wazobia Max TV, DSTV channel 259, UHF 57 on Wazobia TV, Go TV.
Nigeria Info.
Sunnyside and 50,000 naira every week. Yes, yes, yes. Winners will be announced at Hard Facts with Sandra Ezekwesili. Just a minute. The game show for everyone on your number one station for talk. 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.
Alexis Galleries is proud to invite you to Colors and Cues, a joint exhibition of painting and mixed media by Aino Felix and Samuel Tete Katchan. The exhibition opens to the public live on the 14th of November 2020 by 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. with daily viewings every day till the 21st of November 2020 from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. The venue remains Alexis Galleries, number 282 Aki Olubade Street off Idowu Martins, Victoria Island, Lagos, Nigeria. And if you can't be there, you don't have to miss a thing. Be a part of this eccentric art exhibition themed Colors and Cubes on our social media live feed on Instagram at Alexis Galleries and Facebook Live at The Home Stores Alexis Galleries. The gallery will be partnering with the Sickle Cell Foundation of Nigeria by donating a part of the exhibition proceeds to its cause. Colors and Cubes, breathing new life to the contemporary art scene.
99.3 Nigeria Info.
Your number one station for talk. Let's talk.
This is the Big Three.
The Big Three on Hard Facts
On 99.3 Nigeria Info.
Lai Mohammed says the Lekki shooting is, quote, a bodiless and bloodless massacre. That's our second story. I'm Sandra Ezekwesili. This is Hard Facts on 99.3 Nigeria Info. Lai Mohammed is, of course, the information minister. And he says nobody died at the Lekki tollgate shooting. He accused CNN, whose report we talked about yesterday, of being irresponsible and sensationalist and of using unverified videos for their report. He also said it was impossible for CNN to make a reliable report about the Lekki shooting since they had no correspondence on ground. Now, I found that interesting because I also had somebody call in and make that point yesterday. Remember, Rotimi? As a journalist and as a very skilled journalist, I have to point out that we have something called open source investigation. Open source investigation. Please stop what you're doing right now and Google it. What is open source investigation? You will learn so much. But this tool is something that allows journalists use publicly available data to investigate a story without being on ground. You know, say sometimes person they talk some things because maybe you don't know how far. You know, and because some people know how far sometimes, they could talk some things where, because they know say you yourself, you don't know how far, they could just talk and make them bamboozle you. But my job is to inform you, and that's why I'm teaching you about open source investigation. Now, I'll give you an example. You know BBC Africa Eye, yes? Nigeria Info is always partnering with BBC Africa Eye. If you remember in 2018, they investigated a viral video that showed soldiers shooting 2 women and 2 children. People said that those soldiers were Cameroonian soldiers, but the government of Cameroon said it was fake news. So guess what? BBC Africa Eye used open source investigation techniques. They used Google Earth to identify the landmarks in the video, mountains and some buildings. Based on those landmarks, they traced the location to Mali. And then, based on the lighting and the shadows, they pinpointed the time of the year when the video was shot. Then, they identified the unit. How? They used images of the guns to run what is called a graph search on Facebook until they found pictures of army units with the same weapons. When they presented all this evidence to the Cameroonian government, the government stopped saying it was fake news and they arrested the soldiers. So that's on the issue of whether journalists must be present to investigate a story. This is not 1960, it's not 1970. Hell, it's not even 1990. It's the 21st century. Get with the program. Now, Lai Mohammed also talked about the role of social media, and he said the government is definitely looking at regulating it. Not shut it down, just regulate it. He said, quote, "No, we have no plans to shut down the social media. What we have always advocated and what we will do is to regulate the social media. Nigeria is not alone in this regard. The issue of social media regulation is an ongoing debate, not just in Nigeria, but around the world, including the United States, which is the flag flyer of constitutional democracy," end quote. Now, this show is called Hard Facts, right? It's not hard opinions. So we need to do a little bit of fact checking here. The minister brought up the United States. I was listening to Joyce's show and a bunch of other people called in and also said, "Oh, the United States, they're having discussions about regulating social media." They even brought in Mark Zuckerberg of Facebook, and they brought in Twitter CEO to talk about fake news. But again, back to what I said when I started talking about these things. People know that Nigerians have too much that they're dealing with. So you're not really going out looking for information like this. But that's why you come to me. You come to me for hard facts. So let's be specific about what America is discussing. In the US Congress, the Republicans are actually accusing Twitter and Jack Dorsey of censoring people too much. They are saying that Twitter should not be blocking tweets in the name of stopping fake news. So if you look at it on pure facts, the Republicans are saying that citizens should not be regulated on social media by either the platforms or the government. Now, the Democrats are saying something different. The Democrats are saying that Twitter and Facebook are not doing enough to fight disinformation. But notice that they're not saying that government should step in. Democrats are not calling for government to step in. Republicans are not calling for government to step in. They're saying the platforms should do it themselves. Also notice, they're not talking to the citizens about fake news. Nobody is telling the citizens anything. They're calling Zuckerberg and Dorsey to come and face panel. Not Sandra Ezekwesili and Tony Abraham, who are on Twitter using Twitter, or who are on Facebook posting on Facebook. So if you say that the Nigerian government wants to do the same thing that the American government is doing, I have to ask you, is the Nigerian government willing to limit itself to summoning platform CEOs to talk about what they are doing to fight fake news? Or does the Nigerian government want to take a more direct role? And if you say it's a more direct role, is it still honest to compare Nigeria to America? 0700-993-993. Share your thoughts with me via WhatsApp too. WhatsApp is 080-959-75805. And you can let me know what you think about Lai Mohammed's statements. You can let me know what you think about him accusing CNN of misinformation. Now that I've educated you about open source investigation and data journalism, which is my field, by the way, and you've heard about the BBC Africa Eye investigation, which led to the arrests of the people who carried out that exercise in Cameroon, do you still buy this idea that if a news station isn't on ground, they cannot investigate a story based on footage? Let me talk to Ibrahim in Yaba. Ibrahim, welcome.
Yeah, thank you, Sandra.
Turn your radio off.
Okay. Turn it on. Oh.
All right, welcome. Go ahead.
Calling from Yaba.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm at Lekki when the army people come on the 20th of October.
Okay.
I saw the dead body. They are much more than what I expect because I'm there where they are shooting, but government are still argue that no one died and this and that. We don't know what is happening in the country.
How do we know that you were there? Anybody can call radio and say that they were there. How do we know that you were there?
I'm there, right? I'm there. I'm with DJ Switch. We are together. We are the one covering DJ Switch.
I see. Do you have pictures that you can send to me to prove it? I don't doubt your story, but I need to be able to say, oh, he wasn't lying when he called my show. This is it. I can prove that he was there.
Actually, I didn't have picture to send to you, but I'm there. I cannot lie to you.
All right, go ahead.
This is my first time to call, and I never called before. But I heard that Minister of Information say this is lie, and that's why I say let me call.
Okay.
talk about it.
Tell me what you saw that day. Tell me what you saw on that night.
I saw that night around when the army people come, they started to shoot anyhow. They shoot people, carry people, like 4 people, put us inside ambulance, they take it to go. Another ambulance come, we see carry people again, put us inside ambulance, they take it to go. After they shoot, the army people want to go, we see carry 2 people, put inside their motor, they take it to go again back. So that's what happening there. And I'm there till the next day morning before we come out for that place.
Okay. Where were you people when security agents were carrying bodies away, allegedly carrying bodies away?
We are there. We are gathering. They are gathering us together. You know, they have cycled us there. When army come, they have cycled us together. No one should run. No one. We just hang our flag for hand. We sing national anthem, but they are still shooting us. And we are telling them that how many people told they want to kill, how many they want to kill, how many of us they are killing, because how many they don't kill already. That's our.
Them shoot you. Bullet enter your body.
No.
But
person close to me, bullet enter his body. And he enter, we put him inside ambulance, they take him. I don't know where they take him to.
Okay. Do you know anybody personally where you been there with where die?
No, me, I'm alone. I'm going there alone. I'm not going there with anybody.
Okay.
Yes.
Ibrahim, thank you for calling to share your story with me. I appreciate it. All right, Ibrahim.
Yeah, my name is, I'm from Chibok, but what is happening in the country too, don't understand what is happening.
It is quite sad. Ibrahim, thanks for calling. We've got Prince Wise Namwad offering on the line. Hello, Prince Wise.
Hello, Sandra.
Welcome.
President Sandra, how are you?
I'm very well. How are you?
Yeah, I'm okay. But I'm not so comfortable with the statements of Lai Mohammed.
Okay.
If I waited for the probe panel to come out with their own report, as for CNN, if I were them, I will send one of my representatives to go and give evidence at the probe panel. I don't want them to turn this probe panel to wasted something. Now, this one is giving one part of the story, the other one is giving one part of the story. Which one do they want us to believe? And I want to urge any parent that lost his word that period to come forward to the panel and come and give the testimony. Whether you love somebody, come and talk. Because I want this panel, their report to be accepted by the majority of Nigeria. And as it is today, when you talk of controlling the social media, I, for one, am in support of it. Because if somebody just sit at his own corner of the room and send a message to the world.
Now, what kind of controlling social media would you prefer? Is it the type that America wants to do, where they want the owners of the social media to help pull down stories that are fake? Or is it what type? When you say I support it, what do you support exactly?
I want the one that will suit our own culture.
Okay, what's the one that will suit our own culture?
Yes. Like I'm talking to you now, the type of democracy we practice in this country, borrow from America.
But we're not talking about democracy now. We're talking about social media now.
We should copy them for me. Not everything that comes from America.
Okay. And you have said, yes, Prince YS, and you have said, let's focus on our own culture to influence how we regulate social media. Which culture? Is it the Yoruba culture or the Birom culture or the Ijaw culture or the Igbo culture? Which one? Which of the cultures?
You know, in this country today, we do have 3 nations. And in this country today, we have multi-religion in Nigeria.
So which of the cultures should influence our regulation of social media?
Nigeria, we have our own culture.
What is the culture you're talking about?
Borrow from the Igbo culture, borrow from Yoruba culture, borrow from Africa, and match it together. It's called Nigeria culture.
Prince YS, pretend that you are advising the government. What will that regulation look like?
The regulation about this thing, now, number one, we are religious. We are very religious country, and the 2 dominant religions did not tell us to tell lie, to bring anything that is negative to turn into the.
We're a very religious country, but we're a secular country as well. We're not a religious state.
Don't call Nigeria a secular.
Nigeria is a secular state, not a religious state. Prince YS, Nigeria is a secular state, not a religious state. What's in your constitution? What is in your constitution is not influenced by your religion.
Allow me, please. Excuse me,
Go ahead.
Sandra President. Nigeria constitution never called Nigeria secular state. We only put our thing before God Almighty. So we are multi-religious country. We can say we are secular state. No, in our own constitution, they never call Nigeria.
What you've said right now is actually false because the Constitution guarantees freedom from religious rule.
If it guarantees freedom, it doesn't mean what a secular. What do you mean by secular state?
It's a secular state, meaning that our laws are not taken from our religion.
It means you should not put God in anything we are doing.
No, your God is your personal business, not the business of the state.
We have Almighty God that all Nigeria go look towards, pray towards.
All Nigerians actually don't look towards God. There are some Nigerians that are atheists.
You are very correct. That is, I say, we have multi-religious country in this country. Some are Muslim, some are Christian, some are
And
African.
that is why religion is not where we take our laws from. That's why I'm asking you, if you want to regulate social media and you want us to use our culture, what should that culture look like?
Where I'm coming
Where are you coming from?
Where I'm coming from is this. When I adapt to that religion, it means when they want to regulate this thing, we Nigerians want to post anything on Facebook. You should make sure that what you want to post is truth, not the false, not the fake, not to assassinate on somebody's character. Or that's what I'm trying to say.
But there's also freedom of expression, and if you say something that is a lie, government already has a law that hold on, Prince YS. If I put something, Prince YS, if I put something on my Facebook now and I say Prince YS is this and that, Prince YS, you can drag me to court for libel.
You are right.
So what other regulation do you need?
Okay, when we talk of freedom you are talking about now, everything have limitation. I can't come on board now.
Exactly. And it's that limitation that is the libel suit. So if I go on Facebook and I say something that is a lie about Prince YS, Prince YS can take me to court and sue me, and I could go to jail, or I could pay you damages. Is that not already a form of regulation?
Okay, it's a form of regulation.
So what other kind of regulation are you talking about?
But if you post on that your Facebook, it is so we know you now as a star who work somewhere we know. But what of those we don't know their address, we don't know their location, they post on your
we
Facebook.
We have the Cybercrime Act that allows the government to go to the social media platform and ask them, we want to find this person, help us. They can also go to telecoms organizations and say, we want to find this person, help us. So we already have that law. Tell me what other kind of regulation you need.
That law is in existence, my dearest Sandra. The government has to now make it a law that
it is already a law. The government already has that law.
Let Nigeria Radio, especially your radio station, be broadcasting it all the time.
I have been broadcasting it, Prince YS. I have been broadcasting it.
I will trust you. our own first lead in the studio. Let me stop here. I don't waste my credit, Jerry.
Thanks for calling us, Prince YS. Our third story is a collection of concerning reports about what's happening to our security personnel. So first, the BBC Hausa service is reporting that 12 police officers have been abducted by bandits. Still no official word from the police command about this story. They've told This Day newspaper that they're still looking into it. The BBC is claiming that the wife of one of the allegedly abducted officers reached out to them, and they say that the officers were traveling from Borno to Zamfara when they were ambushed. 12 police officers abducted. Today, The Punch is carrying a report alleging that 9 ASPs of police were abducted and are being held in Katsina with a ransom demand of 100 million naira. Again, the police command has not yet commented. Then we have the People's Gazette claiming that bandits allegedly stormed the Nigerian Army School of Infantry in Jaji on Tuesday. Again, we're waiting for comment from the army. And then you come back here to Lagos, After the NSAS protests ended, there were rioters in the streets and police stations were attacked, and it seemed like the police were having serious difficulties defending themselves. So let's jump right into this conversation as well, because time is almost up. Do you believe that the Nigerian security agencies are beginning to have difficulties in defending themselves? And if that's the case, what do you think needs to be done to improve their capacity? Because if they cannot protect themselves, how can they protect us? 0700-993-993-993. You can talk to us on WhatsApp as well, 080-959-75805. Facebook, Nigeria Info 99.3. Twitter at Nigeria Info FM. I'm going to come to Twitter in a bit to take a look at those phone calls, at those messages. Austin in Lekki, how are you?
I'm fine.
Welcome.
Sandra,
Go ahead.
good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I want to speak on the issue on the Lai Mohammed speech.
Yes, go ahead.
I think the federal government, they are kicking against hate speech.
Mm-hmm.
And they are the one again promoting hate speech. This particular CNN report, they should issue us their own report. Let us see.
Well, that's what their press statement was, wasn't it?
That is not a statement. In the first place, they said there was no shooting at Lekki Tollgate. The Lagos State government said he never invited the Nigerian army. Later on, he said he invited. Both of them, both the federal government and the Nigerian army are just pathological liars. We cannot trust them. And a report is coming from somewhere, and they said they want to kick against it. Now, they cannot hide anything again because this has gotten to the international level. Let us see how Lai Mohammed and the federal government, how they are going to sweep this in under the carpet. It's no longer a joke.
Austin, thanks for calling. We've got a comment on Facebook from Michal Musa who says 12 officers had been kidnapped. Police who suppose arrest criminal, they have now turned into prey in the hands of their predators. It is worrisome and disheartening. God save our nation. Balogun Balosam says government and the Nigerian army should continue denying the Lekki shooting. Justice shall prevail. Majority of our leaders are unkind. We just sit on the look. Emeka Nwabo says, Sandra, stop supporting the government. If the money they are looting are channeled into education, we would not be in this problem. Simeon Benga says, as Buhari comes out of that federal government, I'm not sure I understand what you're trying to write. Maybe take a look at it and rewrite it. Joseph Jesus says, funding of public institutions by private sector is a welcome development, but how are we sure that it will not lead to privatization of our universities? We've got Tony Tornado who says, university is far. They should start with privatization of teachers training colleges and schools. Chronic Michael says, I'm not surprised by Lai Mohammed's comments. I don't understand why people are surprised. Richard Atman says, I'm very concerned about the university and the federal government, that the university are making a lot more money from students. Duke Umwesian says, I'm more concerned about the current state of the nation. The insecurity issue has been worsening ever since this administration took over. If top security chiefs can be held captive for almost weeks without anyone doing anything about it, how about the common man? I mean, where did Nigeria and Nigerians go wrong? We've got more comments. Oh, thank you, Emma, for your compliments. Let's go to Twitter, where we've got more comments. Adenka Shabi says, the police can't even find its own. How safe are we? We can't blame them, Shah. They are stretched beyond their means. Adenka Shabi said that on Twitter. We've got more messages on Twitter. Oluwaseyi says, military fired blank bullets in the air and there were reported deaths and casualties. Who is saying the truth? I usually watch BBC Africa Eye. They showcase the truth. Okay. Osiben Ezekiel says Prince YS is trying so hard to defend ineptitude. Asemota Matthew says, let them keep deceiving themselves. We already know the truth. With CNN comprehensive video and findings, even went ahead to do a forensic test on the bullet that was used. Satellite footage on how the army left the barracks. There'll be consequences, I'm sure. We've got Ebenezer who just says, I'm very proud of Nigeria Info reporters. Well, thank you so much. Obi Saint Kings says, the truth is gradually coming out on what really happened at Lekki. If only Nigerians are listening to this unbiased radio station, the blood of the innocent ones that died on that day will speak. How did we get here? Chris AK on Twitter says, Sandra, Lai Mohammed accusing CNN of fake news about the Lekki shooting is irresponsible. He should present his own report. A responsible father will not sleep till the truth is out. We've got more people commenting here. Sandra, please don't pay attention to that Mungo Park journalist that says he's been practicing since the 80s. I don't know what you're talking about, though. We've got Big Mitch who says, no, he's talking about something else entirely. Okay, let's take a look at the messages we have on WhatsApp, and I'm quite sure that they are a lot, right? WhatsApp is 080-959-75825. I think I can afford to take one more call. So 0700-993-993-993. Hello. Hello.
Hello, Sandra.
Thanks for calling. What's your name?
My name is Innocent from Ikeja.
Welcome, Innocent. Go ahead.
All right. Previous caller said that Lai Mohammed and government should come up with their own report. And you said that is their own report. That is not their own report. That is defense.
Okay.
You are defending what CNN presented. So now, this government, I don't understand. Our militaries and the police are being kidnapped in a particular part of this country. And what they are doing, what they are telling us is that military is coming up with something dance or something smile in a particular country. I don't understand what is happening. They are not serious, and I believe they are not serious. And the whole country knows that they are not serious. And no problem. Let's continue this way.
Thanks for calling. We appreciate it. All right, we've got more comments now on WhatsApp, but I'll come back to the comments in a bit. Let's come to Twitter, where we have 98% of government high institutions in the U.S. are not funded by the private sector. It's absurd. Only some sections are partly supported with funds to encourage brilliant minds in tech departments to access funds and grants under scholarship programs. Anti-Niger said that on Twitter. Okay. We've got Samuel Adeogun who says, no, that's a comment from something else entirely. Or that's a comment about something else entirely. Okay. Any government that is overtly defensive shows that they have something that they're hiding. All right. We've got more thoughts being shared on our WhatsApp. Debo from Ikorodu says, DJ Switch has an unpatriotic motive. Who is her sponsor, according to Lai Mohammed? These guys should wake up, please. Nigerians are not dummies. Okay. Well, he goes on to write me a long list of things. Why did Operation Crocodile Smile by the Nigerian Army commence on the 20th of October? Why the cancellation of Operation Crocodile Smile to cyber warfare operation? Why the call for a curfew by the SG on that day when things were still very calm? Why remove the tollgate camera? Why switch off the billboard that illuminated the tollgate area? Why switch off the street lights of the area? What was the Nigerian army doing there? Why shoot in the first place? What was the reason to shoot peaceful protesters? Who shot the protesters? All videos regarded fake by the Nigerian army. Nigerian army first of all said, we are not the one. Maybe some hoodlums putting on army uniforms. SGF said, I'm not aware. State government. I think that's what you mean by SG. All right. Sorry, my shorthand is terrible. SG said, well, it's a long message repeating what we already know about the case. But thank you for sending it in. Sandra, my question is, what is the bone of contention? If truly someone died at Lekki Tollgate, that is sad. But is that the massacre widely reported by social media? Bayo in Surulere is asking. Bayo, I recommend you perhaps take a look at the definition of massacre and then maybe come back to me with that comment. Sandra, this is Chike. Army was wrong to shoot at Lekki toll gate, but let's stop calling it massacre. If people died, where were they buried? If bodies were carted away, why don't families come forward to the panel? Well, we have one person at least, two people actually at least. One of them is Peace Okon, the second one is Victor Ibanga. We got a collaborative call right here on Nigeria Info talking about Emmanuel Ibanga, Ibanga, Ibanga's mother being on a hospital bed after she heard the news of her son dying at the Lekki toll gate. Those are just the two. And then I also started the show by telling you that the Lagos State teaching hospital is asking for people to come and identify bodies that they have in their mortuary. These bodies are people who died between the 19th of October and the 27th of October. So the Chief Coroner of Lagos State, Honorable Justice M.A. Dada, made that announcement on a newspaper, I think the Punch newspaper. And she says that there are lots of unclaimed and unidentified bodies of people who died between the 19th of October and the 27th of October. So they need people to come and identify these bodies. So anyway, Lagos, if you are missing a family member, if someone's died, if you can't find someone, perhaps go and take a look at the Lagos State University Teaching Hospital, LASUTH. Go down to the Department of Pathology and Forensic Medicine. If you have an ID of yourself, go there. If you have an ID for your loved one, go there with that ID as well. Let's bring you business news, and after that, we'll bring you League of Extraordinary Nigerians. I am Sandra Ezekwesili.
And now the business news.